It's a bird.
It's a plane!
It's the Glute guys.
Why, hello. It's me, Dr. Allen of the Glute guys. Today we have another special topic. I can't continue with that. Today we do have a special topic. We are going to tell you what we think is the best equipment to get for a new home gym. Really for anybody, the little things you have to look at and maybe some ways to save money as well.
Yeah, honestly, there's a lot of different ways, a lot of different equipment out there. And especially nowadays as fitness is exploding and booming and a lot of people are looking to get like home equipment, it's really easy to get drawn to the glitz and the glamour and the fanciest equipment that can really make you spend a lot of money when you don't necessarily need that, especially when you're just starting out.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to say one of the first things that's off the top of my head that you probably don't have to get is cardio equipment, because you can do cardio in a lot of ways and you don't necessarily need a treadmill, a stationary bike, something like that. Like you could, as simple as go for a run outside, go for a walk outside. If you have a staircase, you can even just walk up and down the stairs. You do it enough times. I actually have a video or two of me just doing the stairs. You're going to be pretty tired. So I think that's just my first tip right off the bat.
Yeah, Dr. Aaron is a man of luck to have a home gym. I do not. So this also is a good video for me, but I definitely know the equipment that is necessary versus not necessary as well. And I think that's a fantastic tip. You don't really need the big cardio equipment that's going to be very expensive. You can just get outside and smell the fresh air. Even a lot of people don't like running in the rain. I suggest, if you're healthy and fit, give it a try. It actually is pretty good.
Yeah, especially with this hot weather, the rain cools things down a lot, and that is very nice when it's too hot.
Exactly. Well, let's dive into the necessary equipment for sure. Dr. Aaron, what would you say? You have a home gym, so this is an important question for you. You are young Dr. Aaron. You decide, you know what? I want a home gym. What's the very first piece of equipment that you think is the most necessary to go and purchase for a home gym? What is it?
So it could be tough. The first thing that I actually bought was actually bands. So just exercise bands. The nice thing about exercise bands is you can really work any muscle that you want using exercise bands. You can work the legs, you can work the chest, the back. That might not be as popular as what some people expect. But the thing with bands is they're super cheap. You can get a decent set of bands for $20 or $30. And using those bands, you can have a pretty good chest workout, pretty good back workout. Just doing calisthenic things too is actually going to be pretty good for your body and a decent way to get strong. That being said, maybe if you have a little bit more money, I think probably the most important thing is just to get a barbell. Just something that you can lift up that's a little bit more weight. You can find ways to get like weights and plates that are a little bit cheaper, especially if you use Facebook Marketplace or something like that. Even getting a barbell on Facebook Marketplace, you can probably find one that's like a little beat up, but actually, it does everything you need. It's a barbell when it comes down to it. Most of the time, it doesn't have to be pretty as long as it does what you want. And then once you have that stuff, you can do like a floor press on the ground. You could do deadlifts. You could even just do curls with a barbell. Like there's a whole lot of stuff you can do just with the barbell, even before you have a squat rack or anything. It's a good, nice little base strength training equipment.
Yeah, I know. I love that. I think that both of those equipment, the pieces that you just mentioned, are very versatile. And also, if you're someone who's, not quite at the strength level yet, they also have, we call them curling bars in the gym. It's not the same full Olympic length barbell. If that's too heavy for you, you can find something that's a little bit smaller and that you can work with. You can get small little plated weights to put on the side of them and slowly work your way up. And before you know it, as you're collecting more and more, you start to build off of it. So I agree. It's a very versatile piece of equipment. There's a lot of things you can do with it, a lot of exercises that you can start with and also modify, make them harder and easier. So I think that's good. Resistance bands, I think I'm going to get hated on by physical therapy for a second, but there are so many different exercises that you can do with the resistance bands. and they're relatively cheap. They're easy to replace when they break. You can order them on Amazon and have them the next day. I'm sure every physical therapist has done a banded exercise or two, in their life, and we can all agree that okay, in the clinic maybe we shouldn't use them all the time, but for a home gym, they're amazing.
Yeah, you're going to be able to progress. And the nice thing too is, let's say that you get to your heaviest band and you're like, oh, this is way too easy for me. You can just use 2 bands. You can like mix and match bands in order to get more resistance. There's always a way to progress. You can even just do more repetitions. It doesn't matter what your goal is, but there's ways to make the resistance higher. You can just get 2 sets of bands. It's only $40, and you can still do a whole lot of things with just those 2 sets of bands. Now, one thing to think about is there are bands that have like the cable and the handles on them, and they also have like the flat bands that are the pull-up bands or pull-up assist bands. I would probably, believe it or not, recommend the cable ones and not the pull-up ones because it's just easier to add resistance for the cable ones. The pull-up ones, like, they get pretty thick and they're not always the most comfortable on your hand for a lot of that stuff. When I first actually had my own gym, I actually had those pull-up ones, and I was like, I'm just going to do whatever. And it worked, but it just wasn't as comfy on the hands.
Yeah, I was going to say they make different bands, so I'm happy we're touching on that too. I agree, the flat bands, even they have ones that have handles, and they have just like straight bands, and they even have rolls of bands. Shout out to TheraBand, this is an unsponsored ad. You can buy a whole roll of them, and you can just stretch them out and cut them, and stretch them out and cut them. And there's a million different things you can do with that. You can tie them into loops and make your own looped bands as well, too. So I would agree with Dr. Aaron that get those first before getting the pull-up assist ones. Unless you're someone who's more active and stronger, those pull-up ones will be a little bit more your speed. But for a basic home gym when you're just getting started, I think those flat ones are also very good too.
Mm-hmm. So we got bands, we got a barbell. I think the next most important thing, at least to me, that you should get is some type of squat rack, something that you can actually put the barbell onto. So that way it makes squats easier, makes deadlift a little bit easier. You don't necessarily need a bench. As much as that sounds crazy to people, I didn't have a bench for a long time and I was completely fine. Especially if you get a pretty decent squat rack. Like, I would actually recommend almost like the power rack that has the pull-up bar you can go on. It has the safeties in the middle. I think power rack is the correct term. We'll put a photo up in the middle, or maybe we'll replace the whole screen. Who knows?
That's my job. Well, it'll be a surprise. I haven't thought of it yet.
But yeah, a power rack, something along those lines. You might even be able to get a cheaper one on Amazon. First of all, you can do pull-ups. Pull-ups are great for the back. You can do back deadlifts with the ground. You don't even need the rack for that. You can also add in some squats, some good mornings. If you have the safeties in the middle, you can also do some not full range deadlifts, just working on the power part of it. There's a whole lot of stuff you can do with just a power rack and barbell. You could even, if you have the
reverse lunges.
Yep. You could do a floor press using the rack as well. I used to have it so my bench was here, on the power rack towards the outside, I guess you would say. I put the little holder so I could just bench and put it right on top of the rack while I'm laying on the ground. And that worked perfect. And then a lot of times those power racks, you can get little attachments that you can do dips on. A lot of them also have a pull-up bar. Pull-up bars, like we said, are great. Yeah,
I'd agree with that. After, I would almost put maybe one other thing ahead of the rack. I would probably say a good set of dumbbells would also be good too, because they're versatile as well. You can add in different exercises as well too, but that also is dependent on the person too. What types of exercises that they're doing. They're both squat rack and dumbbell. They're both very versatile in what you can do. Obviously the squat rack, like Dr. Aaron is describing, if you're getting that, as we were talking about before, the barbell for the squat rack should be Olympic size, because if you have a shorter barbell, if we weren't strong enough to get them, it's not going to really fit on the squat rack. Just one thing I wanted to throw in there. But yeah, those are good pieces of equipment. And I agree with Dr. Aaron that the bench or the adjustable bench isn't necessarily needed because there's the exercises that you can do on a bench, you can also do laying on the ground. You won't get the full range of motion, but you can start with that if you want to save the money. Even when it comes to rows, you can do rows standing, just bent over with the barbell. You can do them one hand on a chair with a dumbbell. So different exercises you just can make do without a bench.
So I think where I am going to disagree is that I don't think that dumbbells are as important as the power rack or squat rack, mainly because adjustable dumbbells are super expensive. And when I was looking for like just prices of equipment in general, I found that a lot of the adjustable dumbbells, like they could get up to like $200-$300. And
oh yeah,
now this is also a year or two ago, so the prices have probably changed since then. So $200 or $300.
they probably went up.
Yeah, probably went up a lot. Probably $200 or $300 for adjustable dumbbells. When you want to get up to 70 or 80 pounds, and then it was $400 or $500 for maybe not the best quality squat rack, but like a decent quality thing off Amazon. So to me, it's like $100 or $200 more, and I felt like the long-term investment was worth it. Like when you get one of those bigger dumbbells, they're just gonna be more expensive, like the ones that go up to 70, 80, 90 pounds. So I always found that it was the squat rack was nice to have just because you could do a little bit more legs. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's really just you're going to have a good time with either one. If you have heavy enough dumbbells and you have a squat rack, they're both going to be very good.
What I would suggest for the like the dumbbells, because obviously if you have the barbell and we're adding and taking the weight away from that, there's a lot of like exercises that you can do with the barbell that you can also do with the dumbbell. So it can make the the dumbbell purchase not quite as necessary because it's like, all right, well, I could do rows bent over with the barbell, and all we're doing is switching to single arm. It changes your workout a little bit, but it's not drastic. If you don't want to go and spend $200, $300, $400 on adjustable dumbbells, you pick a moderately weighted dumbbell for you. And you purchase those, you don't have to go and spend a boatload of money on them. You just have one set of them, and you start with that at least to start building it up. But just another option to think about as well.
Yeah, so I guess based off what you're saying, like one thing that I sort of did was I got a lighter kettlebell and I slowly got more and more kettlebells. I do think in the long run that makes it so you have to pay a little bit more money because you just keep having to get another and another and another. But there's something nice about just a stable kettlebell. Like that kettlebell isn't gonna break on you. Like sometimes the adjustable ones are a little wonky. That's another negative about the adjustable dumbbells. Some of them are really stable. Like the power blocks, I've used those before. Those are super stable. I have these ones called like Smart Fit dumbbells, and they're really not that stable. Sometimes things will stick and a weight will fall on the ground when you're in the middle of like a bicep curl, which isn't necessarily the best. So that is the positive about just getting free weight dumbbells. Like if I had a choice and I had plenty of space and room to put, I would just get free weight dumbbells. But again, that's more expensive. It takes up a lot more room too. That's something that we haven't even mentioned yet in this video. We don't want the equipment to take up too much space. You want it to be more consolidated, which sort of goes against what I said with the squat rack. The squat rack does take up a lot of space, but you can get ones that are a little bit smaller. Like you don't have to get the whole power block. You can get one that just you put the weight on, you take it off. You lower it, you put the weight on, you take it off. Whatever you need to do.
It's very true. It's very, very true. Sorry, I almost cut you off in the middle of your talk right there. That was very rude of me, I will say. I just got very excited because I will also say, although the squat racks can be large and seem like they take up a lot of space, they also still have space on the inside where it's like, okay, you can still do exercises that you're not necessarily using the squat rack for inside of the squat rack. So it's not like it's, taking up complete dead space, such as like a bench. If you're not using the bench, you can't really work out around it, on top of it. Like it's just awkward spacing. Squat rack, it's like, all right, listen, I want to do curls. I don't have that much space. I can stand a squat at the squat rack and do some curls with the dumbbells. Versus a bench, if you don't have a lot of space, it can kind of get crowded with it. So you got to use your space wisely and design your space wisely as well. I also agree with what you just said about I don't really like those adjustable ones. I always get nervous whenever I'm benching with them. I have to make sure I'm holding them a certain way, so this way I don't feel like the weights are going to slide off and take my face off with it too. So I'm not the biggest fan of the adjustable ones. They actually, to me, I feel like pose too much of a danger risk, especially when you start to get to certain exercises that are overhead, around the head, around sensitive areas. It can be a little bit more dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I guess if we had to summarize so far, top 4 would just be dumbbells, squat rack, barbell, bands.
Yeah.
What do you think you would go to next, or is there anything you could think of that you would like?
Honestly, I think that we really just focus really hard on strength exercise, which is fantastic. I will say majority of my exercise routines now still are strength based, which is important. But I also think we need to think about warm-ups. We need to think about some, even though we just said expensive cardio equipment, no, there's still one piece of cardio equipment that I think is good to have, important to learn, and really good for overall health. I would say a basic jump rope. Even if you're not good at it, it's a great skill to practice. It works on coordination, it works on timing, it works on explosiveness, and it's a great cardio workout. Even if you do it for 30 seconds and take a rest. Even just practicing it for mental practice is going to just help your brain as well as you're starting to work on your coordination. So if you're someone who's not as coordinated, but you're still trying to work on it, I think a jump rope is a inexpensive piece of equipment and incredibly undervalued in a home gym.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I didn't even think about a jump rope. I also have a jump rope too. I mean, a lot of the equipment I have today, I'm not even going to go into, because it's just like things that most people, if you're starting in a new gym, aren't going to need. Like, I have a strongman log. Don't really need that if we're starting a new gym. I have Atlas stones. I have sandbags. Like, I have a lot of stuff that, like, you don't really need to have it to start. It's more just like, I like to try some weird things. And if you guys didn't know, I'm doing a Spartan race. Actually, this week.
No, wait, this is the first time you're mentioning it in any of our videos.
Oh, yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention it.
Yeah, you haven't. Yeah, he's doing a Spartan race.
Yeah, but that's why I have like a bunch of wonky stuff that most people like aren't really going to use that much. But I think that we could probably just keep it consolidated to those 5. I agree with the jump rope. The jump rope's easy. It's light. Another one that I actually think is good for people to have, especially for the chest, are parallettes, which a lot of people don't know about, but they're actually like a gymnastic thing that we'll put another picture of parallettes up there. They're a good way, like you can just look up like beginner parallel workouts. Depending on your level, you can do intermediate or advanced as well. And it's just a really good way to work on your core, work on your chest. And it's different. It's a little bit more fun. I always say to people, you should do something that you like to do. If you don't like to do it, you're not going to be consistent. And to me, parallettes was sort of fun.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's also a good piece of equipment to have. It can work on a lot of stability work with that, a lot of core work with that as well. It just adds a different type of, different environment to your workout that, not a lot of people see, even in a commercial gym. You really don't see parallettes in a commercial gym. To be honest, I was just thinking now as talking, which is why it sounded like I was brain farting and mushing. My gym does not have parallettes. Mm-hmm. So I would agree. I think that's something that's different. There's a lot of different exercises that you can do with it. I will say, if you do buy them, you can get a cheap set for them, but I would probably invest a little bit more because you want them to be sturdy. Don't get the cheapest one.
You can get the cheaper wood ones, and they're really good quality.
Yes.
Because those wood
you don't want to
ones,
get like the cheapy plastic ones.
Yeah. I wouldn't get a plastic one. I just get they have a bunch of wood ones that really aren't that expensive, and I would just go right for one of those. Like it's really not too bad at all. Let me see if I can look
When I said cheap, I more so meant like quality. Like, yeah, you want something that's decent quality, so don't be afraid to spend a little bit more on something like that. Just because you don't want to be doing like either a push up on them or a pull up, or like you could find some crazy stuff where all of a sudden the friggin' brace just goes and snaps on you.
Yeah.
But while you're looking that up,
right
I'm gonna
now,
throw an important piece of equipment. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say right now I see some that are like $28 to $32 for some wooden parallettes that look somewhat decent.
That's not bad. No, that's honestly not bad at all. But a very important piece of equipment that we should have mentioned as one of our first ones to have, because it's very basic and it's great for warm-ups, and we all need to stretch and warm up more than I see people do in the gym, because nobody is ever stretching except for me. I feel like when I get there, is a yoga mat. Get a yoga mat for your home gym and stretch before you work out, before you go and injure yourself. And if you do injure yourself, call a PT like me or Dr. Aaron.
So I don't think that's wrong, but another option is like, I was thinking about this before, forgot to mention it. If you want to improve the flooring, make it something that's a little bit more stable, that you can drop some weights on if you need to, yoga mat probably wouldn't work. So what I would recommend is, especially if you have Tractor Supply stores around, is actually getting horse stall mats. Shout out to my buddy Tony. Horse stall mats are really good for gym flooring because they just protect the ground super well. And most of the time you're going to be good with just that. If you're doing heavy deadlifts, you might not want to do that. You might want to get something a little bit more sturdy. But for squatting, for bench, for a majority of that stuff, the horse stall mats are going to be perfect.
Yeah, I think that's a good option as well. I think that's as you're advancing your home gym, I think that's good because they can get a little bit pricier, like spending like $100 or so on those, versus a yoga mat might be like 15. But correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong. But believe it or not, a horse stall mat at Tractor Supply store 4x6 is $53. So. Pretty good size thing. My whole basement's like covered in horse stall mats. So you probably need to get 2, maybe 3 or 4. But it's gonna keep you, like, your floor very protected and very stable for a long time. There's nothing wrong with the yoga mat too. Like the yoga mat's still good. It's just another option that for the long run might be worth a little bit extra money. Honestly, you could have both. You could get the yoga mat and then you get the horse stall mats. If you're made of money, throw some out there.
Exactly. Make it rain. I don't know. I can't remember how comfortable the horse stall mats are to lay on, which is why I was just offering a yoga mat. Yeah, but if it feels good on the rump, then
probably not as comfortable as yoga mat. Probably not. I'll be honest.
Never mind.
But good for
if
weights.
you want some comfort.
Yeah. Honestly, what were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say those, to me right now, those are probably the most important things that we went over that I think are a good way to start a home gym. Obviously, we can run all day on different equipment to go and buy, but I think those are kind of like your keystone ones to put in your home gym for sure. And you don't even need to buy all of those. If you're not someone who's going to be weightlifting per se, some of those might not appeal to you. You might have some other like different pieces of equipment depending on what you want to do. If you're doing like yoga or Pilates based exercises, you might want to go ahead and get something different. Medicine balls are another good option, not for yoga, but for more of like your core based exercises, Pilates based exercises, stuff like that.
To be honest with you, if I had to open my own home gym, or I just wanted to start working out and I never had done it before, I'd probably just do a lot of calisthenics, probably yoga. Like, just by calisthenics, we mean body weight exercises, so push-ups, body weight squats, jumping, sprinting. Like, doing all of those things are going to be a huge shock for your body. Now, it might not be good for everyone, depending on your height, your weight, all of those different things, but it's a good see how your body moves first with these calisthenic things, and then you can go a little bit more into a little bit more strengthening stuff. That being said, strengthening stuff is never a bad thing as long as you're somewhat thinking about technique, trying to keep good posture as you do stuff.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree.
I think we can probably wrap it up there. What do you think, Dr. Tom?
Yeah, overall, I think that's a good beginner-based home gym equipment setup. And we're gonna have some other videos coming up in the future where we talk about some of our favorite home gym exercises, total body, upper body, abs, all different things, where we'll throw in different gym equipment that you could also use as well in case that, sparks some ideas for you at home that you're like, hey, you know what? Like, I would like to grab something like that. And that's an exercise I would enjoy. We'll throw those in there as well. So stay tuned. We got a whole new series of that stuff coming up too as well. But yeah, overall, I think that's good, Aaron.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a nice night.